Shouts out to my first block. Shouts out to my first pack. Shouts out to my first drop. Without y'all, I could never do this. Without y'all, I could never do this. I say shouts out to my first shooter. Shouts out to my first bitch. Shouts out to them first boosters. Shouts out to my first snitch. Without y'all, I could never do this, y'all. Without y'all, I could never do this. I say shouts out to my first work, so that shouts out to my first connect. Cause soon as I hit that block, that's when I got my first respect. Shouts out to my first gun, then we put in work. Even though we ain't had no bullets, then we could've got murked. Shouts out to my first stash, damn you kept me safe. Until everybody started telling them these niggas fake. Shouts out to my first scale, damn that thing was handheld. Niggas telling me my shit was off, I'm looking back at them like you know damn well. Shouts out to my first mic, you know the $25 church type. Cause I remember the first night you helped me get my verse tight. Shouts out to my first fight, you helped me get my nerves right. Shouts out to my first loss, so I can know where hurt like. Shouts out to my first child, can't wait to see your first smile. Money, on top of money, shouts out to that first pal. Shouts out to my first love, shouts out to my first hate. Shouts out to my first real, shouts out to my first fate. I say shouts out to my first track, shouts out to my first block. Shouts out to my first pack, shouts out to my first drop. Without y'all, I could never do this. Without y'all, I could never do this. I say shouts out to my first shooter. Shouts out to my first bitch. Shouts out to them first boosters. Shouts out to my first snitch. Without y'all, I can never do this.
Y'all who we are, nigga.
Without y'all, I can never do this.
I say shouts out to my firstborn, Jalen Horn, I love ya. Yeah, your pops be acting up, but I ain't putting nothing above ya. Shout out to my first gun, P89, that snuff shit. Left you out in NY, cause I ain't going out no punk shit. I dump shit, I dump shit. Catch a nigga sleep, me slump shit. Rock up by that baby, call 80 out that news clip. Shout out to my first track, Lexingtonburg, I booked that. Shout out to my first cell, 325, I took that. I took that, I took that. 2 for 16, we lived that. Me and Styles in that hallway, splitting down candy like a Kit Kat. Shout out to my first charge, got to up with that powder. Yeah, we smoking red line, way before that sour. Shout out to my first beat, can't say a nigga remember. Shout out to my first love, now nigga hardcore December. Shout out to my first beat, can't say a nigga remember. Shout out to my first love, now nigga hardcore December.
I say shouts out to my first track, shouts out to my first block. Shouts out to my first pack, shouts out to my first drop. Without y'all, I can never do this.
Never do this.
Without y'all, I can never do this. I say shouts out to my first shooter. Shouts out to my first bitch. Shouts out to them first boosters. Shouts out to my first snitch. Without y'all, I can never do this.
Never do this.
Without y'all, I can never do this.
Randolph was my first block. Gifford was my first track. 280 bottles, my first charge. Wasn't even my pack. Shout out to my first shooter. Looga was my first track. And ever since I've been letting off these bullet verses when I rap. Shouts out to my new shooters. Shouts out to my new block. Shouts out to them drug dealers. Fuck the old and new cops. I remember first started pitching. That money had me on track. Them pick ups had the fiends leaning. They made my pockets all fat. Rap was more my shine time. Rap was more my grind. Getting money's my talent. Ball them all like Bron. Niggas acting like bitches. Somebody give them some pom-poms. I'm on the road to the millions, and all I need is my time. GPS and I'm gone. Get it done, come back like I'm on. Shouts out to my first child, 'cause you the reason I'm strong. Shouts out to my OGs, my first